Are you struggling with some lead generation strategies for your B2B business, or you're just trying to actually create some more to pump up the leads that are feeding your sales team? Well, this is the video for you. Today, I'm going to share 12 very specific lead generation strategies that I use day in and day out with clients. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met yet, my name's Bill Rice. I'm the founder of Bill Rice Strategy Group, where we help B2B companies generate leads and create lead generation programs that build out a predictable and steady flow of leads and revenue into their B2B organizations. In this particular video, I'm going to go through 12 B2B lead generation strategies that I'm specifically using with clients today. So let's hop right into the list. Number one, LinkedIn content. Post images and videos. I want each and every one of my sales team, ideally marketing, and as many personalities inside of my B2B company as possible to create a personal brand inside of LinkedIn. The LinkedIn company page at this point, although we're starting to see some movement on here, doesn't give you the reach that an individual profile does on LinkedIn. And there's a lot of reasons to why that makes sense, that personal feed has a lot more reach. If I'm a B2B salesperson or a marketing personality or a CEO or founder or executive inside of a B2B company and I want to increase my revenue, then what I want to do is start to build content into my LinkedIn feed that shows that we're the expert in solving problems and challenges that my ICP has. So the LinkedIn feed, creating content consistently and frequently is one of the best lead generation strategies that are on this list, and that's why I lead with it. Number two, in order to kind of build this or get your footing, if you haven't published content before, I see a lot of founders, a lot of executives are a little bit nervous about putting themselves out there in their feed. And so one of the best ways to do is just to follow other influencers or people that you respect, ideally within your industry. Could be also customers, your actual ICPs. Start to follow folks and then hop into their feeds, especially the active ones, because they're the ones that are posting content. You'll get a sense of what they're posting, what's resonating, what's engaging, what's appropriate on the platform itself, and start to like and comment in there. It will give you more confidence, and you'll start to get to kind of the flavor and the feel of what's appropriate inside of that LinkedIn channel. Number three, featuring content on LinkedIn. So this can be actually building out newsletter, it could be video. So again, this is more robust content that actually is being featured in LinkedIn. So this could be image carousels. This generally is the type of content that your marketing department would assist those executives or those key leaders in building in order to routinely and consistently get out into the marketplace with that content. So again, featured content on LinkedIn. Number four, YouTube. If you can get video going inside of your organization, it's a powerful tool that can be used in a lot of different places. So number four is YouTube. Those videos that you're building as shorts, short form video that you're putting into LinkedIn, you can easily stitch together and make long form content for YouTube. Use the short form content in YouTube Shorts, or you can do it in reverse. You can do individual short clips. Again, as you're working with the personalities inside of your B2B organization, or you as a founder personally, you're going to get a sort of a flavor of what you're better at. Maybe it's the short forms, maybe it's the long forms, but you can go either direction and produce both content. Inside of YouTube, it's really important to have a mix of both. Generally, I'm seeing that shorts gives me more reach, don't necessarily give me more subscribers, although I acquire a lot of subscribers through my short content, but the long form content, that's where I'm getting most of my lead generation, most of my traffic back to my website, and generally where I gain most of my subscribers. So ideally getting a little bit of both of those content. And again, repurposing and reusing across channels can be really powerful, particularly video. And that is, and you'll hear this over and over again inside of this list, that is probably your hottest piece of content right now is video. Number five, Sales Navigator. This is one of those kind of, for whatever reason, underappreciated and understood tool within your sales and marketing program. So this is as appropriate to marketing as it is to sales, but it's a great lead generation tool. So the way that I use Sales Navigator is actually mostly focused on the Save Search feature inside of there. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into Save Search and you're going to work through those filters and different features to narrow in on your ICP. So you've probably already done several exercises to determine what your ideal customer profile is. What I want you to do is go into Sales Navigator, and I want you to go in their query builder and essentially build out that ICP, all the characteristics, the company size, the roles, the type of technology, the industry. You can build all those out in sort of a kind of a do-it-yourself database querier. But what it does that's so powerful, as you're defining that ICP with that feature on the side, you're building a feed of people that meet that criteria. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at that feed, and as it builds out and it refines, ideally as you go through that feed, which kind of mimics the LinkedIn profile feed that you use when you go into LinkedIn, once that feed, about 80 to 90% of it looks like your ICP and people that would actually buy from you, you've now refined that save search to be your ICP search. I want you to save that. And then what this does is it's dynamic. So as people come into that criteria, they will be added to that feed. Also, as they change roles and they move out of that ICP, they will move out of that list. So you will have a very dynamic list. And ultimately what you want to do is you want to go in there and you want to start your connection campaigns from there. And when I say connection campaigns, I want you reaching out to those people. You should have probably already built out a series of 2 or 3 messages that is, hey, I'd like to connect with you. Usually it can be a non-salesy sort of approach where you're just saying, hey, I'd like to connect with you. We're in the same industry. I serve your industry. You can be transparent. You don't have to be salesy, but you're going to build a multi-part connection campaign. And you can check into my videos. I kind of go into more detail on how to run that connection campaign. But you're going to systematically go through and try to connect with all of those people. Those are your ICPs. The friction to that connection is a lot lower than cold email outreach, which we'll talk about here in a second. And it can contribute to your outreach campaign, because as you're connecting and as you're interacting with those folks and potentially even commenting and liking on their material inside of LinkedIn, you're going to build this sort of subconscious relationship. They're going to start to know you or recognize you, recognize the name. They're going to see your profile picture, and that's going to build some deeper relationship and credibility with you, with that person, which then feeds into strategy number 6, which is our cold outreach. And this is with email. I don't do cold email anymore without LinkedIn. So our strategy number 5 with Sales Navigator is a precursor to strategy number 6, our cold email outreach. So this is outreach that I'm going to do within my CRM. So as I'm going through Sales Navigator and I'm doing those outreaches or those contact connection campaigns, I'm also using something like Rocket Reach or Apollo. By the way, you can look down below. I've got links to my full tech stack. So if there's anything you're missing or you want to check what I use when I do this, you can check a link. You can check down below there and you can see all the different technologies that I mentioned here. But anyway, as you're going through that feed, you can use Rocket Reach or Apollo. They all have plugins and you can quickly grab the email. So as you're working in LinkedIn, you can grab that person, the role, and their email, and you can put that into your CRM system, because you're going to run your cold outreach from your CRM system. In my case, I like to use Close at close.com. And the reason for that is, 1, I've used it for years, and 2, it allows me to put opportunities into different status areas and then to trigger, manually put them into workflows. And what workflows are quite simply email sequences. And so this is going to be my starter. I'm going to create an opportunity, which is new lead or ABM prospect or something like that. I'm going to take them from Sales Navigator. I'm going to get their email. I'm going to put them in as a new lead inside of my CRM. Like I said, in my case, Close. And then I'm going to build a 3 to 5 email sequence. Much like the LinkedIn sequence, this is going to be a sequence that essentially, I like to think of these sequences as a story that I'm trying to tell. So I'm going to lead, as soon as I put them into the CRM, I'm going to have it triggered to lead with some value proposition. In the case of email, I'm going to be a little bit more direct with them. It is going to be more salesy. My primary objective with my email outreach is to schedule a meeting. So I want to lead with a value proposition. I want to let them know why I'm contacting them. Instead of just kind of pushing my product on them, I want to say, I noticed you from LinkedIn when you're in this role, a lot of the clients that I have this challenge or are like you, and then drop the value proposition, and that's your first email. And then from there, I'm building additional value with each one. I'm going to do it as a reply, and I'm going to continue. I'm not just going to try to bump it up. I'm going to actually try to add a little piece of value and tell a little more of my story as I move through those 5 emails. And what I'm trying to do here is essentially get them intrigued with the story that I'm telling and willing and interesting to go to either my next email, or better yet, look at that calendar link at the bottom of the email and want to engage with me to have a discovery or a demo session to learn or go deeper on that story. So that's how I'm crafting my cold outreach with email. Strategy number 7 is a landing page with a lead magnet. So if you are not familiar with this, and a lot of B2B marketers don't do this, and I don't understand. They rely so much on email outreach that they forget about actually driving them back to their marketing hub, which should be your website. If you don't have your website yet, maybe you're an early stage startup, or you may even not have sort of full access to that website, because believe it or not, a lot of times product-based SaaS organizations, sometimes marketing doesn't have sort of direct access, or they sit behind product development in order to run their marketing campaigns. So you can use other software for setting up your landing pages. This can be something as simple as Typeform, or I like to use Kit. It used to be ConvertKit, because it does 2 things for me. One, it allows me to set up a landing page where I can capture people into my list, and at the same time, I can build up that landing page within there standalone and run those ongoing campaigns. So the landing page plus the lead magnet. So the landing page is one thing, that's to pull them there, but you need some sort of hook. Whether you're doing your email outreach, you're working on LinkedIn, it's nice to always have somewhere to send them, because so often in B2B, the winning strategy is to get them to go down the rabbit trail with you to look at a bunch of your content. So by having a link or some landing pages where you can send them, you say, hey, I'm talking about this thing in my content. And oh, by the way, if you want more information, visit this page and you can download this ebook, this one-pager. I love the one-page PDF. People will give you an email all day long for a one-page PDF or a checklist or something simple. So that's what Kit provides for you. You want to have a landing page where you can quickly stand up an offer of something that they can download from you. That should have some value to it. Again, we're building up series of value over time. So Kit is a great way to execute this landing page 7, which is a landing page plus a lead magnet. So what you're doing, they give you an email, and then they're on your list, they've opted in, they've subscribed to your newsletter, and then you're going to deliver that PDF or that downloadable, that extra value. Number 8, follow-up sequences from the CRM. So we talked about being in the CRM and actually doing outbound outreach to new leads, but some of these leads, of course, will turn into conversations, scheduled demos, and discovery sessions. And then from there, ultimately, you will leave them with some set of next steps. And a large percentage of those will need what I call polite, persistent follow-up, right? Because they're not going to come back to you proactively. They're not ready to sign the agreement. Maybe they have to spend some political capital internally in order to get to a purchase decision. So there's a lot of things, a lot of complexity in the B2B decision-making cycle in order to get to that final agreement. So we want to have a solid set of follow-up sequences inside of your CRM. And the way that I like to set this up is my sales process probably has multiple stages. And so I set up my opportunities in close to mimic each of those stages in my sales process. So for instance, new lead, schedule a meeting, submit a proposal, prepare a proposal, submit a proposal, and then win or loss. So those are different stages of my sales process, or the journey that my opportunities go through. And then for each of those different stages, I have already pre-written a workflow for each of those. So as I put them into that status, I trigger off the workflow. So for instance, a new lead will automatically trigger, or I will set in motion a schedule a meeting workflow. And that'll have, this is again, you'll hear my system over and over again. I like to have series of 3 to 5 email sequences. So when I put them in a new lead, I'm going to run a 3 to 5 email sequence that's going to try to drive them or encourage them to schedule a discovery with me. Then once I have that meeting scheduled, I will send them into a workflow that tries to get them to the next step or preps that meeting. This is really good. If you get a lot of leads and you want to help filter them, it's really nice as a meeting gets scheduled to filter with some pre-work, if you will, before that meeting. So maybe you're sharing some sales collateral, maybe you're sharing some pricing, you're sharing some testimonials, you're trying to sort of pre-sell that discovery or that demo with that sequence. The other thing that you can do, and this will occur from time to time, is you want to have a ghost sequence. So if someone doesn't come up to the meeting, there's a variety of reasons. In my experience, usually it's accidental and an oversight. It's not intentional to sort of avoid you. And so having a really good sequence that acknowledged the fact that, hey, you missed our discovery, but we know things get busy and maybe you missed it accidentally. And here's an easy way for you to reschedule. So I want to do those follow-up sequences. That's strategy number 8. You will get a lot of follow-up and conversions out of that strategy. Number 9, a newsletter. So we talked about those lead magnets, and that's the best way to get subscribers onto your list. You want to run in parallel with your sales activity newsletter. And so this should be a weekly drop. Again, we're building levels of value here. So we want to make sure every single week we're dropping some value, insight, something that is going to continue to nurture that relationship, build trust, build credibility, and build the sense that you are the expert that they need. So strategy number 9, a newsletter. Strategy number 10, lead nurturing campaign. Again, we talked about inside that CRM as we move through those different phases, 80 to 90% or more of those leads will ultimately go unresponsive or lost. They're going to go into the bucket that I always categorize as aged leads. It doesn't mean that there's no deal to be had. It just means the timing wasn't right. The role or the person you're talking to isn't right, but they're not dead. So you want to continue to have a lead nurturing campaign. And again, this is just a set of sequences that will periodically re-engage that audience, or you can manually trigger from time to time. If you do a press release, we just did this one recently with a customer. They had a press release. It was a really interesting study that they had done. It gave me an opportunity or an event to push out into those aged leads. So having a lead nurturing campaign, you will be amazed at how many of those seemingly dead leads will turn into fresh new leads if you're just politely persistent and can keep in contact with them with a long-term email lead nurturing campaign. Number 11, SEO, content and video. So SEO is one of those strategies that require an investment because it requires a significant amount of content to be created. But if you are using SEO tools and you're looking into the marketplace for the demand, the searches that people are doing that are related to your product, your service, or the solution, or the challenge that you solve, you will know what your marketplace is looking for from you, and you can satisfy that with content. And then over time, that content, if done well, will rank in those searches. So when people are trying to make a decision, they will do those searches and they will come to your website instead of, some other, comparison shopping directory or something like that, G2 or one of these other software comparison sites that are taking advantage of that search demand that is there trying to make a decision. So when you're doing SEO and content, I encourage you to concentrate on sort of the middle to low funnel. The top of funnel is nice, and sometimes if you're starting a brand new website, you need to do some content there just to give Google some foothold to understand what you are, expertise is, and how you serve the marketplace. But as you start to get that credibility, that website gets some strength from a search engine perspective, then you want to concentrate on that middle to lower funnel. So what is happening at that middle to lower funnel? They're starting to make a decision. So that's why comparison sites, like I said, G2 and those sorts of things for software, focus on that area, because when they start comparing solutions, that's the point at which a decision is being made. And so for them, that's where companies will pay to get the lead from that comparison. Well, there's no reason you can't do that same comparison, but a lot of companies are fearful of mentioning their competitor. But I can tell you over and over again, I've executed similar strategies around the decision making as what are the alternatives? How do we compare? What do we do better than others? Where do others fall down? And so comparing you versus somebody else is a powerful one, showing that you have a solution to a problem. So building content around very specific use cases, industries, and scenarios is really powerful too, because again, as somebody's trying to solve a problem, they will often do those searches. And a lot of times those searches are really close to picking a solution, to relieving some pain, to opening that wallet. And if you can build the content around there, too often there's not a lot of competition there. So you can kind of sneak in there and get those people right as they're ready to open the wallet and buy a solution. Number 12, last, I call this the easy button. I put it at the end. However, because oftentimes the investment, especially for startups and founders and sort of younger companies, this may not be something that you start with, but it is certainly the easy button. So once you've identified those searches that people that are close to making a decision are making, and you can again see that with tools and demand, then you can actually purchase your way into those searches directly. And it is the easiest way to get leads, because as soon as you start running those campaigns, you will buy yourself onto that first page, and then people will obviously click that. Again, people who are trying to make a decision are gathering information for a decision, which is often the context in B2B. By putting those PPC search terms and by buying those search terms, you're going to get whatever demand is there. You're literally buying them. Again, the problem here is oftentimes there's a significant investment per click, and you have to have that landing page infrastructure already in place to quickly and easily and efficiently convert it, so you can keep that cost per lead as low as possible. But where this category and this strategy becomes really important, as you go into your first or second round, oftentimes your investor is asking you to grow and scale. This is the fastest way to deploy marketing dollars and get a 1 to 4 time to 4x sort of multiple on those dollars. So a lot of times investors will say, hey, I want you to get leads and sales as fast as possible. And really, there's very few lead generation strategies that are more efficient than paying per click. And that's, again, Google ads. It can be LinkedIn ads. In some cases, Facebook ads as well. And combining those together in a pay-per-click strategy and campaign specific to demand around that low to middle funnel, where people are starting to gather information and make a decision, is a really efficient way to generate a lot of leads for a growing sales force as you're hitting that B and C round of investment and really trying to scale the business. Hopefully those 12 lead generation strategies have been helpful for you. I know they've catapulted a lot of my clients into the next phase of their growth. Always enjoy having you here. I'd love for you to do me the favor of a like and a subscribe. And if there's anything else that you'd like to know more about, or you want to discuss this topic with a bunch of your own B2B lead generation ideas, let's get a discussion going down in the comments. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.